Casey stared at the door. How had it appeared here? Where had it come from? For a moment, he thought about calling his mother but held back. The door's white paint was peeling, the wood chipped around the frame, looking aged and weathered like it had been pulled from a run-down building and dumped in the middle of his room. At the top center hung the female restroom symbol, a woman in a dress. He wondered if it was some dumb prank by his friends but quickly dismissed the idea. They wouldn't actually do that, would they? The room was deathly silent. No birds chirping, no distant traffic noise, no footsteps from downstairs. Only Casey's breathing and the pounding of his heart filled the stillness. Sliding off the bed, he stood before the door, staring blankly. The sharp edges unnerved him. The silhouette of the woman on the door sent chills down his spine. For reasons he couldn't explain, the door scared him. A brief urge to leave and tell someone flickered, but he pushed it aside. He had to know. Quietly, he approached, footsteps muffled in the heavy silence, breath quickening. He pushed the creaky door open, and to his utter shock, what lay beyond was not what he expected. Outside was outside the door. He glanced back, still his bedroom behind him. He thought about running to tell his mother and sister but hesitated. Slowly, he placed his foot over the worn timber threshold like an astronaut's first step on the moon. When his foot touched the ground beyond, relief flooded him. He pulled the rest of his body through, gasping. Fresh air filled his lungs. Birdsong returned. The sky was a clear, bright baby blue with not a cloud in sight. Casey looked around. The place was crowded, not just people, but schoolgirls in uniforms, chatting, laughing, and giggling as they passed through a school's entrance gates. What the hell is going on? Casey muttered aloud. He glanced back. The old door still stood behind him. He moved toward the gates, scanning left and right, up and down. What was this place? Virtual reality? A dream? Everything felt real. Natural. Above the gates, rusted iron bars framed a long avenue lined with large orange-leafed trees. At the far end, a mansion-like building loomed faintly. Casey needed answers. He approached a group of schoolgirls. "Hey, can you tell me where?" They ignored him, chatting over his words. He tried again, but they acted as if he was invisible. Several girls brushed past without a glance. Soon, the crowd was inside the tall red brick walls, leaving Casey standing alone. A stern woman in a pencil skirt checked names on a pad at the gate. Casey cleared his throat. "Excuse me, I know this sounds odd, but where exactly am I?" She didn't flinch, peering over her red spectacles as she ticked off names with a tiny yellow pencil. Shock paralyzed Casey. He had to get back, to tell someone what he'd found. Turning to run to the door. It was gone. His eyes widened, disbelief rooting him to the spot. Rubbing them, hoping to clear the vision, the door was still nowhere to be seen. He stepped over to where it had stood and stared at the wet tarmac, panic rising. Blinking repeatedly, he tried to process the emptiness. He looked down the road, left and right. His breathing quickened with terror. He was trapped. How would he get home? Turning back to the school gates, he hurried toward the woman, but an invisible force stopped him mid-step. Silence swallowed the world. No sound. The pressure in his head built so intensely he feared his eardrums might burst. The trees swayed slowly, leaves drifted down in slow motion. The girls moved sluggishly along the avenue. The woman's pencil hovered above her pad as time itself seemed frozen. Only Casey moved normally. Fear rooted him solid. Goosebumps erupted across his arms and neck. His body shivered as if tickled by an invisible feather. He tried to shake it off, but the sensation worsened. Suddenly, his insides twisted like coiling snakes. He doubled over, wondering if he was about to be sick, then a strange warmth spread from his inner thighs to his fingertips and toes. His hands began to shrink before his eyes. Fingers thinned, nails lengthened. A scream tore from his throat, shattering the silence, yet no one reacted. To them, he did not exist. His broad shoulders shrank. A tingling crawled down the back of his shirt. His hair was growing fast. Help! Casey gasped, reaching out desperately. His muscles shrank until he was frail and bony, his knees trembling beneath him. Then soft layers of fat spread over his arms, hips, thighs, and bottom. His breathing grew tight and shallow, as if something squeezed his ribs while his waist pulled inward. His thighs thickened, pressing tightly against his pants, even as his waist narrowed. He lurched forward as his bones shifted and reshaped into a feminine form, his height dropping noticeably. Though the pressure wasn't painful, Casey groaned under the intense strain on his face. His nose shrank into a cute button shape, his strong jaw softened into gentle curves. His thin lips swelled into pouty, feminine fullness. His lashes thickened and lengthened. Long brunette hair cascaded down his back like a flowing curtain. Gripping his newly rounded bottom, he felt the soft flesh that had appeared as it pushed out behind him. His neck stretched gracefully, like a swan's. He wanted to cry, but his attention snapped to his inner thighs where the strange warmth intensified rapidly. Looking down, he saw his male organ and private organs shrinking, disappearing. No. His voice cracked, high and frantic. He clawed at himself, trying to stop the transformation, but before his eyes a thin slit formed a female organ. He couldn't watch. Grabbing his hair on both sides, stunned by the thick, long brunette strands, he felt shock and disbelief wash over him. His insides burned and shifted. Then, horror struck as two perky chests pushed up on his chest. "I don't want to be a," he cried, voice breaking. "No. What's happening?" The final stages came swiftly. His sparse body hair vanished, skin softening. Around him, the world remained suspended in heavy slow motion. Trapped inside his invisible prison, panic overwhelmed him. He tried to think clearly, but only confusion and disbelief clouded his mind. This had to be a nightmare, but the moment to wake never came. Suddenly, his oversized boy's clothes began to change. His white sneakers darkened to brown, growing a small heel, the laces fused into two buckled straps. Looking down, he realized he now wore shiny Mary Jane shoes. His legs were forced tightly together as his denim jeans fused into a single piece, causing him to wobble. The fabric shortened rapidly, ending high above his knees, revealing smooth, bare legs. His jeans had transformed into a tight denim skirt, which darkened to navy as pleats formed along the hem. "Oh God, no!" Casey cried, voice unnaturally high and girlish. The fabric shifted to polyester, tightening over his wide hips. He tried to pull the skirt off, but it clung stubbornly. His boxer shorts shrank and softened into delicate satin panties. His gray socks stretched up his softer shins, turning into white cotton. His red hooded sweatshirt tightened across his chest and arms, the hood vanished and sleeves disappeared. Now wearing a red tank top, the color deepened to navy and merged with the pleated skirt. The neckline stretched, revealing a white shirt beneath. A waistband appeared between top and skirt, cinching tight. His gray t-shirt split down the center, buttoning itself into a crisp white blouse with a rounded collar and short puffed sleeves that hugged his arms. He felt a zipper close behind him, his new pinafore dress sealed around his altered body. Suddenly, a tight band wrapped around his chest as a white bra fastened under his perky chests, lifting and supporting them in soft satin. Embarrassment flooded him. He prayed no one could see, though how could they? His mind raced, overwhelmed by surreal sensations and emotions. It was too much. He felt himself unraveling. The skirt flared outward as a navy bow appeared beneath the blouse's collar. His long brunette hair settled softly on his shoulders, a pale pink bow tying it back. Then something strange coated his teeth. He licked nervously and saw braces. A shrill, girlish scream burst from his lips, but no one heard. "Oh God, please no," he whimpered, staring down at his new feminine uniform. He squeezed his chests in disbelief, jaw slack with shock. A strange mix of fear, confusion, and something softer churned inside him. His trembling hand traced his arched back and rounded bottom. He touched his cheek, marveling at his delicate nose and mouth. Eyes, mouth, nose, hair, he gasped, clutching his hair. I'm a girl. I'm a girl. How is this possible? Unnoticed, the world snapped back to normal. Sounds returned, the chatter of schoolgirls walking inside, the woman ticking names. Casey muttered to himself, I'm a girl. No, this can't be. I'm a girl. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears, though none fell. Taking a tentative step, he felt the unfamiliar weight on his chest and the odd tug of gravity. This can't be happening to me, he whispered. Spotting a schoolbag tossed on the ground, he picked it up. A sudden awareness of his diminished strength startled him. The stern woman at the school gates glanced up at Casey. Adjusting her spectacles, she squinted to see who stood in the middle of the road. Casey's heart skipped, she saw him. He hurried toward her, feeling the light sway of his pinafore skirt in the breeze. A faint jiggle in his chest sent a strange tickle through him. Oh, thank God, he said, still unsteady with his high-pitched voice. Excuse me, could you tell me? What are you doing standing in the middle of the road, young lady? The woman snapped sharply. What? Casey stammered, confused. IJ just appeared here, and I don't know what happened, but I suddenly changed into a. He couldn't say it. It felt too absurd to admit. He stared into the woman's hard, commanding face, lips tight, fiery brown eyes cold and unyielding. She frightened him more than the transformation itself. You'll get back inside this instant, Grace. It's because of students like you I'm wary of letting girls into the village at lunch, she snapped. No, you don't understand, I don't even go to this. You're late, and you'll get detention. Now move along, she ordered, pointing her finger. You've got it all wrong. I came here through a door. Didn't you see it? Casey turned toward the road. It was right there. I came through it. Enough, the woman bellowed. I won't tolerate cheeky talk. Get inside now unless you want to spend the term in my office. Casey felt his chest tighten. Panic hit, his breath racing, fear and confusion swirling inside him. This woman actually thought he was one of her students, and that made his blood boil. Listen, lady, you have to understand. How dare you speak to me like that, she snapped, outraged. She grabbed his wrist firmly. Hey, what are you doing? Casey yelled, struggling to pull away. The tall woman towered over him, looking down with cold authority. Vulnerability washed over him, he felt small and weak. She yanked him through the gate, striding swiftly down the avenue. Casey struggled, arms trembling, but he was too weak to break free. It had to be a dream. He glanced back to see the iron gates slowly closing. His eyes widened in panic. He had no choice. Summoning all his strength, he stomped down hard on the woman's high-heeled toes. She shrieked, releasing his wrist. Casey dashed toward the gates, his new shoes clacking loudly against the pavement. Each step sent vibrations up his slender legs, his chest bounced, hair whipping into his face. He ran like his life depended on it, but the gate seemed to retreat farther as he approached. Glancing behind, he saw the woman watching silently, arms crossed. His skirt fluttered wildly. Too late. The gates slammed shut with a loud clang. He pounded the bars, desperation rising. No, please. There's been a mistake, he cried. I'm not supposed to be here. He didn't know who he shouted at, only rattling the bars with all his remaining strength. Tears welled in his eyes, an overwhelming urge to cry choked him. Clicking heels approached from behind. Turning, he backed up against the gate as the stern woman closed in, eyes blazing. Please, Casey whimpered. She gripped his tiny hand so tightly he thought circulation cut off. Without a word, she pulled him away from the gate. He twisted, trying to break free, eyes fixed on where the mysterious door might reappear. You don't understand, he yelled, voice cracking. I'm not a girl. I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. The woman dragged him toward the school building, where he was to remain for the rest of his days. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.